Hey, John and Ash, we have finally reached the PlayStation 3. And the big question of it is, was it worth 599 US dollars?
Of course it was. Just the PS triple, man. Come on.
PS triple. We ain't talking about no Wii.
Yeah, it's the PS triple. I wipe my ass with $500, man. Come on, or $600 in this case.
Yeah, I that reference completely went over my head until you guys showed it to me. But yeah, the PlayStation 3. I'm curious what our histories with this one were, because this is this the first sign of a company being too confident in the previous generation that they completely botched the next generation?
Yeah.
Or can we label SNES and to Nintendo 64 under that same label?
I'd say that was the first sign.
I guess so, yeah. But it was total arrogance, though. Like, PS1 dominated, PS2 completely dominated.
Mhm.
I think they just expected, a default win. And in the end, they kind of got it. Because 360 was outperforming most of the life cycle, but right by the end, PS3 actually overtook. They actually won over 360. We won overall. But it paid off once they were able to get their console cheaper. But selling it at that amount, I think they thought people would still just do whatever they could, but they didn't.
No, it's really tough to afford. I was in college at the time, and I was a big Sony fan. I'm like, I can't get that. I can't justify that price.
Just get a second job. No big deal. Same though. I didn't get a PS3 at launch. The first PlayStation console I didn't get at launch. I couldn't afford it either. And there wasn't really a compelling launch lineup. It wasn't really until MGS4 hit that I felt like, okay.
Which was 2008. It was like a whole year and a half after.
Yeah,
that's exactly when I actually played it. I got it myself because I saw the bundle. I saw that there was enough games. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna get it now. It's a decent price. It's like it's good. And then that console generation lasted forever. It felt like it was one of the longest console generations, to the point that I'm pretty sure, at least on a per game physical basis, I have the most games on PlayStation 3 more than any other console. Switch might be comparable now. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't fully checked, but I have I just ended up getting a ton of games on the PlayStation 3 just because it was around for so long, and there was a lot of great games, whether exclusive or multi-platform.
I got a 360 first, and I was pretty happy with it. But Metal Gear was the big catalyst. I felt like I could miss out on most other PS3 games for a while. And multi-platform games were being reported as better on 360 anyway. So there wasn't like an urgent need.
Like Bayonetta.
Yeah, exactly, like Bayonetta. And basically most games. But then MGS4 came along, and it was fully utilizing the Blu-ray disc. It felt leagues ahead of 360. It was beautiful. It's still beautiful today. And, as a Metal Gear fan, you can't miss out on a conclusion that seemed as big as that. So I had to get a PS3 for that.
And I believe by that point, by the time Metal Gear Solid 4 released, Blu-ray had come out as the clear winner between that and HD DVD.
Oh, yeah.
The price was coming down too. They stopped doing the backwards compatible version by 2008. And they had a big price cut in general. So it wasn't $599 anymore at that point. But I think it was like a year or two after that the Slim came out anyway. So they really started slashing their prices to make it a lot more competitive.
Yeah, and they were. This was also when they were all in on like the Spider-Man 3 being the biggest thing, because they used the exact same font.
It's just so funny.
Oh yeah,
and they changed the font midway through. What other console does that? What other console just changes their font?
I can't think of any other console where that's happened.
I still remember the E3 and seeing the Spider-Man version, the Spider font version, the Boomerang controller in person. Like I was there.
Right, the Boomerang controller.
I remember seeing it behind the closed case. I'm like, that's a controller. That's a choice. A Spider-Man thing. That's a choice. But I remember being at that E3. It was crazy.
I remember they changed the Boomerang to the 6-axis controller, and they said they couldn't have Rumble because it wasn't possible to do motion controls and Rumble at the same time. And then like a few years later, the DualShock 3 came out, and it did exactly that.
Yeah. Thank God too, because I actually knew one person in college who had a PS3 at launch, and I was able to. They let me play Uncharted 1 on it, which I had a good time. But boy, there's the 6-axis controller felt like you could break it like nothing because there was just nothing inside it. It was so light.
Yeah. Did some cool things though, like in Little
Mm.
Big Planet, you can bob your head up and down by moving the controller. Metal Gear Solid 3 had some really good uses. There's tons of cool 6-axis stuff. Some not so good stuff, but a lot of the time it just kind of felt like a natural extension. And it did a lot of things that 360 couldn't do. Like you had that motion controller. Online was free, so even though the console was more expensive, even when PS Plus got introduced, it was just free games for a while. There wasn't actually a paywall for online. PS4 did that. So that felt good. But there were a lot of other ways that PSN was quite far behind Xbox Live as well.
Yeah, I didn't have a 360, so I couldn't have a direct comparison. But I didn't mind PSN. I thought I could navigate it. I could navigate the cross media bar and all that stuff. But I'm also coming from
cross media bar is maybe Sony or PlayStation's best.
It's the best.
Yet I love it still. And the PS3 also, like the Xbox 360, it has to be said that the PS3 had a really strong indie scene. It took a little while to get a little longer to get going than Xbox Live Arcade, but once it did, there were games that I played on PSN indies that were like genre defining in that generation, like that were never replicated in PS4 and PS5. Like games like Dyad. No one remembers Dyad. I love that game. That was on my personal top 10 ever. Games like Dyad and the Pixel Junk series, Pixel Junk Shooter. I love those games, man. Like PS3 had amazing indie stuff too.
Yeah, and even after the backwards compatibility with PS2 ended, all PS3s could still play PS1 games, whether that's through PSN or using your actual discs, which was rad. A lot of cross-buy too, with Vita as well. So like if you bought PlayStation All-Stars, you'd also get the Vita version.
Right,
But that was true for indies too, like Hotline Miami. You just get both of them.
Which was nice. It was nice to see Sony humbled and learn to do a bit better.
Yeah.
And then they repeated it, like ostensibly they kind of repeated it when we got to the PlayStation 5, but I mean it's not as bad. I don't think they
at least with PlayStation 5, I think Xbox just fumbled anyway, so it doesn't matter. They can do what they want.
Right.
But let's go ahead and talk about the games. What games hit the top 10 for the PlayStation 3? Got the question of whether it's going to be more exclusive or more third party when it comes to Sony. Sony tends to the first party tend to resonate with their fans a bit more than Xboxes, it seems, outside of Halo and Gears.
Yeah.
But I don't think Gears even made it to the top 10 on 360, so maybe that's changed by now. It's an odd thing. That being said, the PlayStation 3 ended up with 770 total votes, spread out among. I'm going to have to go with about 450 games. I did not get a chance to note every game because, my God, it gets so granular at a certain point when you're counting all these. And I just got the major ones. I know for a fact the top 50 is the top 50. Like nothing can challenge those.
Cool.
So that's what's important to me. Like it's going out beyond that is just a matter of like a numbers game. So that's where we're at there. But let's go ahead and get to it. Ash, John, what is our number 10 PlayStation 3 game of all time?
What are you thinking, Ash?
I'm thinking there are only a couple of slots where this is possible. I'm going to come right out and say it. If you know me, you know me. I love Final Fantasy 13. I think it's super overhated, underrated. I love that game. And I really hope either 13 or 13.2 makes the top 10. But I also know realistically that we're looking at maybe 10.9.8 as probably the ceiling for FF13. So I'm going to vote for it once at least. And I'm just going to, I'll throw FF13 out there. I really hope it made the top 10 because FF13 rules, you guys. So
I thought you might do this. Actually, I was thinking he's going to vote for FF13 as number 10. And I remember there were memes about that, but because it was originally PS3 exclusive when it was announced. And there were all these memes about how it can't come to 360 because it would need like 20 discs. I think in the end it needed 3, maybe
2 or 3. I can't remember how many.
Yeah, it wasn't that many, but it worked pretty fine. FF13 is a pretty good guess. I want to vote for like Motorstorm because Motorstorm rocks, but no one's going to vote for Motorstorm. So instead, I'll say Little Big Planet 2 at number 10.
Another good one.
All right. At number 10, with 745 points. Journey.
Oh, I was thinking maybe Journey
almost
as well.
guessed Journey too. Yeah, I almost guessed Journey. That's funny.
What a cool one. I think this is
Yeah.
still artistically one of the best looking games ever made, I feel.
Yep.
And it's really ahead of its time too, because there's that feeling of interconnectivity just by seeing other online players playing with you. And we've gotten that like way later on with like Mario Wonder even. But it just felt like a connected linear experience. And there was nothing like Journey.
No, it's you're ostensibly online with the people, but they also like trick you into like, is that a real person? Is it just AI? Is it the same person every time? You don't know because they give you a whole list of who you were with as you're going through that. And it's short, it's linear, but it's gorgeous. Like I will never forget the sand skating in the silhouette.
Oh yeah,
probably one of
the sun that shines on the sand.
Yeah.
It brought sand surfing into vogue. It was what a gorgeous game. Really its own completely singular vibe. It just barely missed my own personal top 10, but it was like number 11 basically. Number like 11 or 12. It was like really close. But that also speaks to the incredible strength, as I said earlier, of the PS3 indie scene. There were so many good, amazing indie games on PS3, and Journey is just one of many.
This is where that game company kind of stood out because I didn't play Flow, but I did pick up Flower, and I enjoyed Flower for what it was too. Just very
cool.
And that was like a 6-axis game, wasn't it? You tilted the controller around to blow the wind and the petals around.
And it worked because it wasn't exactly hazards or anything. There's stuff to do and all that stuff, but it kept you engaged. And then Journey it seemed like the next big step. And they're still going. They have that Sky Children of Light, which is kind of Journey-esque in ways.
Yeah.
It's a sort of a combination of all the games they've done up to this point. So it's an interesting aspect there. But man, I'm curious if Journey's experience still holds up as much as it did at the time, whether it still has that kick for people. But at the time, my God.
Yeah. They made like a native PS4 version of it, and I think people still really enjoyed it there. But its experiences have been done quite a lot since then. So it's hard to say the impact is still there, but I think people can still appreciate a gorgeous game like this for what it is.
And if you want a more, I think it's not available on PS5. If you want a more modern allegory for it, there is a water-based Journey-esque game called Abzu that I would recommend. That like if you want that Journey sort of vibe, but you love water and you love swimming and all that stuff, and you want something that's available on a modern platform, Abzu, you should definitely check out.
100%.
By the way, before we get to number 9, as we're, if you guys think about what that might be, I do want to mention that a lot of people are like, why do you have them guess? Why do we have the guessing game for these? And the big reason why, and I think Ash just demonstrated, John just demonstrated, it's a great way of sort of getting our personal picks. What do we think got to the top 10 based on you guys? What other games we think is worthy of the top 10 or might make it? It's just sort of broadens what a game that might be featured. It's just supposed to be fun. It's like, do not take these lists seriously. For the love of God, do not take these lists seriously. These are all just a good fun. But yeah, John, Ash, what is the number 9 PS3 game of all time, beating out Journey by 13 points?
Oh, that's so small. Okay, I'll say this might be Ratchet and Clank: A Crack in Time.
That's a good one. I guess I'll throw out Street Fighter 4 or Super Street Fighter 4, one of the versions.
This didn't make it on 360. It didn't make the 360 top 10 by a lot, and I was shocked by that because I thought this was like a generation-defining game. But I hope it's here.
Maybe more of our audience played it on PlayStation. I feel like, but Street Fighter 4 should be in the conversation, regardless of whether it's 360 or PS3.
Agreed.
All right. At number 9. Persona 5.
No.
Wow.
No, you did not play this on PlayStation 3.
Right?
No way. No, you did not.
Way. Yeah.
No, you didn't. No, you did not.
I always forget that P5 was originally from this generation.
I actually saw it in box on PS3.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would you get this version of the PS4 is there? Because it was pretty late in the PS4's life as well, wasn't it? like pretty well
Super
into
late, I think.
PS4 was kind of established.
I think this was like it was Switch's launch year, 2017.
Yeah, so my God. Now, I did see somebody specific as they were submitting these say, yes, I did play it on PS3. Like some people are like,
I bet some people did.
Enough
Most
to have,
people did not.
Yeah.
Right.
I think they're trying to hedge their bets to make sure it gets in there.
Yeah. But it's interesting though, because there's a lot of games you think are PS4 games that are actually PS3 games. Like Metal Gear Solid 5 is on PlayStation 4, GTA 5 PlayStation 4. Do people associate The Last of Us with PS4? I don't know. That's a PS3 game. There's a lot of stuff that was cross-gen then.
Yeah. See, that's the funny thing is I forgot about Last of Us because I associate with PlayStation 4 because I got it on pay. Quick side story. I got Last of Us on PS3. It's also my when Joel gets the impaled through the stomach, my PlayStation 3 died.
Oh no. It killed his PS3.
It killed my PS3, and I just gone through the game so much, and I couldn't just go through it. I got a replacement and whatnot. So I didn't actually finish and play through Last of Us until the PS4 version.
Okay.
But anyway, Persona 5.
Yeah. As Terry says as well, Yakuza 0 was also a PS3 game, and that's now a Switch 2 launch title all those years on. But no, Persona 5, it's good on PS3. It's the same game. It was made for PS3. I think it's just the same thing at 720p. Runs fine. Yeah, it's still a great game.
It's the reason everybody was like, why isn't this on Switch? This is Switch can run a PS3 game just fine.
Well, a lot of people didn't realize. People were like, Switch can't run a PS4 game. It's like, well, it's a PS3 game. But yeah, people just don't really know that this is also on PlayStation 3.
It's one of those games where I forget just how long it's actually been out. Kind of like GTA 5, right? Where it's just like it's been out and ubiquitous for so long that I forget that it actually started life as a PS3 game. It's weird.
Yeah.
And it is the first Persona that I fully beat. Like I played a bit of 4. I've got a decent way in, but this is when I first understood how to play a Persona game and not worry about what you do and don't get wrapped up on trying to get everything done.
Yeah, don't follow a guide the whole time. Just live it.
Yeah. And it's an incredible experience. It's so good. I enjoy the characters. The plot is 90% there. There's some stumbles along the way, but it's still really entertaining. And when it hits, it really hits.
Oh, for sure. And I think a lot of people saw how stylish it was, especially the menus. They're so eye-catching. And Persona's always been stylish, but 5 just took it to the next level. The Phantom Thieves are just really interesting. It's easy to see why this one kind of pushed the franchise to a new level. And I can't say anything bad about it. I'm just sure that we're going to discuss it again when it comes to PS4, though.
It does seem like it, right? I was like, especially at least we'll have a different version with it's probably going to be Persona 5.
Yeah, I guess so.
That one.
Yeah.
I just want to say, Sonicu in our live audience chat, I see you and I hear you. The PS Triple, I ain't talking about that Wii.
Not today.
I see you. Not today.
Next time we'll be talking about that Wii.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I want to hear this. Did you whether it's whoever's watching this, did you play Persona 5 on the PlayStation 3? I'm very curious the number on that one.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's our number 9. Can't argue with it. It's just fun. I don't associate with PS3 personally. But
yeah. Right.
There you go.
Yeah. But PS3 had it, I guess. So it counts.
Yep. All right. Time for our number 8 PlayStation 3 game of all time, beating out Persona 5 by about 80 points.
Okay.
For this one, I guess I'll throw out Ratchet and Clank Future, a Crack in Time.
Yeah. I feel like this is kind of Ratchet's place. Ratchet had a few games, but a Crack in Time, I think, was just the most famous one.
I think Ratchet had the most games on the PlayStation 3.
Tools of Discretion is actually the one I played and written. That was like my entry into the Ratchet series, and I loved it. I never actually played a Crack in Time for whatever reason.
Did it have more than PS2? Because PS2 had like 4 mainline ones.
It had the collection. It had Crack in Time, Tools of Destruction, Quest for Booty, All for One, Full Frontal Assault. I'm missing one. Into the Nexus.
Yeah, I guess PlayStation Move Heroes counts, right?
Oh man.
But
I'll bring Little Big Planet 2 back because I feel like it's going to be here somewhere.
Okay. At number 8, Ratchet and Clank Future: A Crack in Time.
Nice.
All right. The right idea.
Yeah, this is still my favorite one.
Yeah, I think I do think Rift Apart is my new favorite Ratchet. It does. There's a very great video by Golden Bolt about the entire Ratchet series, really, but Crack in Time really shows how crunched they were for this game and how quickly they had to get it out, and it's nuts. But the game hits. There's some great weapons. There's fun story. Clank is probably at his best when it comes to his sections. It's so much fun.
I think with Tools of Destruction, which was very good, I was still feeling a little bit of franchise fatigue though, because it hadn't really evolved. It was just kind of bigger, more beautiful, but kind of the same thing again. A Crack in Time though, it felt different. It felt cooler. Story felt it was the best the series I had at that point. It just felt like it was doing something that hadn't really been done before, while not totally changing the game, but just kind of making it feel a bit more distinct. And going off all of them, I think its themes are still the most striking for me. So that's why it's my personal favorite one. But Tools of Destruction is very good as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones, and after Crack in Time, they really did went into spin-off land. So by the time we got to the very end of the PS3's lifespan with Into the Nexus, that felt like a return home. It was like, oh, it's nice to have this kind of a gameplay again, even though it's a shorter game ostensibly. And
then we had a franchise break for a generation. Like PS4 got that remake, which was okay, and then that was it until PS5.
Yeah, so it's funny how much it's slowed down at this point. Compared
and speaking
to all
of the
that.
PS5, this is where and when I complain that we still haven't gotten a Rivet and Kit game yet. Just to
I think Insomniac stretched a little thin with all the projects they've been given. My God,
you're right, but man, they're so endearing, and I wanted a spinoff with just them so badly, and I still do because they're such endearing characters. But
they're on Marvel for the next 6 years. Ash.
Yeah. Insomniac was insane during the PlayStation 3 era because you had all those Ratchet and Clank games. And remember, they were also going every other year with Resistance. So it was Ratchet, Ratchet Resistance. And then,
right.
Like how I can't believe they were able to pull that off. But yeah, it's excellent. It's so much fun. You got more Charles Martinet in there. He plays Clank's father. And it's adorable. Really can't recommend that one enough. It's just a lot of fun. Plus, Dr. Nefarious probably at his funniest.
Yeah, he's fantastic in this one for sure.
Yeah, he's at his most threatening in Ratchet and Clank 3, but he's at his funniest in Crack in Time.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah. Absolutely check it out. I'm glad we got a Ratchet and Clank into the top 10. It was sad to me that we didn't do that for the PlayStation 2. But the fact that we got one on PS3 is like, okay, thank God.
Very strong chance that PS5 is going to get one as well.
I think so. I think it has a good shot.
Yeah.
All right. It's time for our number 7 PlayStation 3 game of all time, beating out A Crack in Time by 19 points.
Very slim differences between these games.
There's some games here that are just like so minor as far as difference. Like they spread out just a little bit after a few more got voted, but there's a point where there's like a 1 point difference.
Yeah. Well, this would be the time where I stop saying Little Big Planet, which is probably the time where it's going to appear. I'm going to say Tokyo Jungle.
Oh, good one. I have to. I'm going to invoke it one more time. Final Fantasy 13, because I feel as though personally it was my number 3, but I feel like as though general consensus number 7 is like, unfortunately, the ceiling. Deserves higher, but I think 7's like
if it's not here at 7, it's probably not here at all.
No, so I'm gonna say FF13 and hope that it's on here. Yeah.
All right. Got Tokyo Jungle and Final Fantasy 13. Tokyo Jungle deserves a re-release, by the way.
It does. It should have been on the Vita. That was a perfect Vita game. Why was that?
Yeah, it was. It was. It's kind of a roguelike before I even realized what roguelikes were.
Yeah, 100%.
So, all right. At number 7, Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's not too surprising.
Yeah, I feel like Uncharted 2 is just so much better.
It's so much better.
3's fine. 3 feels quite disjointed though, whereas 2 is just this one continuous journey. 3 just kind of teleports you to like a boat to the sands. And it has some really good highs. There's a lot of set pieces that I remember very well. The flashbacks to young Drake, that was great. But the multiplayer was never as good as 2's, and it just didn't feel quite as connected. But still a great game. But I think 2's just so much further ahead than 3.
Agreed.
It's tough to follow up and act like Uncharted 2, but they did their best. They had they traded in the snow for the sand. We got that plane sequence. As a fan of Sully, I liked the focus on Sully this time around. You really got a better sense of their relationship because he didn't get to show up much in 2, which is a shame.
True.
So I enjoyed that aspect. The villain seemed interesting until nothing really happened with him at the end. Like and the last bit kind of where it hurts itself. Like it just was like, okay,
it kind of fizzled out. Uncharted 3 is my least favorite of the numbered Uncharted games. I know if you go back to 1, Uncharted 1 is mechanically it shows its age, it's of its generation, but I still prefer 1 as an adventure more than 3. So 3 was just, it's the only Uncharted game that never stayed with me, really. I played it once and I was like, okay, I'm good. Whereas the others, I wanted to play more than once. And it's there. And personally, it didn't make my top 10. I wouldn't have ranked it in the top 10, but it's still a good game. It's just kind of it's just there. As Uncharted games go, it's extremely unmemorable. And
I remember when it came out, there was a weird glitch where they had to patch it because the right analog stick didn't actually work in 360 degrees. It was like 8-directional aiming or something like that. And they patched it like a few weeks after, but it felt really weird to begin with.
It's kind of funny that its predecessor overshadows it so much that it literally makes the top 10, and a lot of us like, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I generally think this one's just okay. It's fun, great moments. I wouldn't put it in a top 10.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling there's certainly some other games that did not make the top 10 that all of us would pick to trade out for Uncharted 3. That being said, if you voted for Uncharted 3, I get it. It is a thrill ride, and Uncharted excels at that.
Mm-hmm.
This was also the one where is this the one where Nathan gets stranded in a shipyard?
Yes.
Where the storm picks up. That's a memberable sequence. I do enjoy that sequence.
Yeah, that was a really good part. That's probably the best part, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Trust me, it's still good. But I would put 3 above 1 personally, just because its mechanics are better.
That's fair.
But,
yeah,
it's not exactly it's a great series. But Uncharted 3, really great stuff. Trying to get a little bit more of an emotional core in there, but again, I appreciate the Sully stuff. But let's go ahead and move on to our number 6 PS3 game of all time, beating out Drake's Deception by 7 points.
Ooh, just 7.
Wow. I guess I'll throw. I mean, it might be a little higher. I don't know. It's hard because I'm not personally a huge fan of this series, so I may be misranking it here, but I guess I'll slot in God of War 3.
That's a good choice. I like what Game Bear Benji's saying. Infamous doesn't get spoken about that much anymore. Mm-hmm. I really like the first one and the second one.
Yeah,
I'll say Infamous
great.
1.
Mm-hmm. And he was popular enough to get into Street Fighter Cross Tekken as a Sony exclusive
PlayStation All Stars boy, Street Fighter Cross Tekken boy. He was everywhere.
He was everywhere.
Yeah, both Cole and Evil Cole in PlayStation All Stars.
All right.
Oh wow, yeah.
All right. At number 6. Ash gets it again. God of War 3. I wasn't sure if we'd actually get a God of War game in these top 10s because it missed out on God of War 1 and 2 and on the PSP. But 3, no, God of War 3 is a spectacle.
Oh, yeah. The scale in this one is off the charts. Like, the first 2 games were bombastic and all, but in this one, you could have these these gargantuan monsters, and Kratos can literally be between like their thumb and index finger, lifting them out, and it's the camera like zooms back to show just how big everything was. That was one of the games that just made it feel like, whoa, this is a generational leap. And I think it's like both this and MGS4 were like, man, I've got to get a PS3.
I think this was the I played God of War 1. I didn't really get as into God of War until the more recent games, the sad dad games. But I just didn't really like Kratos as a character until 2018. But I think this is the one, I may be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the one where my dad played like someone who gets set on fire by Kratos, and he just had to scream. He's like,
I mean, that does not narrow it down.
I know, right? But he's like in a cage and he gets set on fire by Kratos, and my dad is just screaming the whole time. I didn't play it, but I think that's the one he.
For those who don't know, Ash's dad is a voice actor. He's not just idly screaming in the background while Ash is playing God of War.
Yeah, he's a voice actor. Don't worry, he's not actually getting set on fire. But I think he was in this game as like some 2-bit character who gets set on fire. I think. Yeah, that's my God of War 3 story.
It's the same with the Twin Snakes. Your dad voices Gray Fox.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of screaming and bashing his head that you got to listen to.
Yeah.
Why do we keep beating up your dad when he gets in video games? It's
right?
Weird.
Seriously.
Yeah, with God of War 3, from that opening where you're fighting on top of Gaia against Poseidon, having those crazy horses, and then was it just me? Did you start feeling bad for the gods? Because
you're just hacking down.
People.
You can just quick time event until like the final boss is dead. You can just do it forever if you want to. Just keep bashing on him.
Yeah, your entire you can stop whenever you want, but you can go until your entire screen is red. You can stop. You can have that bloodlust. I didn't realize. I was like, oh, it'll stop eventually. And just getting redder and redder. I'm like, what the?
Yeah. One I have to come back to at some point is the other PS3 game, because I played 3. I played the PSP games, and then there was Ascension, which had multiplayer as well, and I barely touched that one. I don't even know it was good. I just kind of had serious fatigue at that point, though.
Yeah, that's where I was. Where I started playing, I was like, I'm good. I just stopped. I was like, I just didn't quite click the full way. It's one of those I want to go back to, like you, John. I didn't think I realized it had multiplayer, but I think for a lot of people, God of War 3 was such a high, that going to something like Ascension felt lesser in a lot of ways, in the same way that it was hard for me to go from MGS4 to Peace Walker.
Right. Yeah. It felt like it ended. You've had your conclusion. Don't really need more, but here's more anyway.
Yeah. And I mean, there's still neat things, but I remember even during the presentation of Ascension, people were just like, "Oh, okay, more God of War." Like it wasn't exciting for a lot of people,
right?
Which is, is a good indication of why it changed this to Dad of War.
Pretty much.
It's it just got more interesting. You had to focus on Kratos' character because, he didn't have much of a character, and they certainly tapped him by the end of God of War 3. Like there's good moments with his character in there, but there's not much more to him beyond this one.
No.
Yeah,
it's interesting so far though. It's basically been exclusive games, whereas 360 wasn't. But I think that's generally how most people see these consoles. PS3, it wasn't like swimming in exclusives, but it was pretty distinct from 360 in what it did have.
For sure. So let's continue on to our top 5 games on the PlayStation 3, and number 5 beat out God of War by 60 points.
Oh, okay. It's quite hard to narrow it down because
right?
I want to stop saying Little Big Planet, but I feel like it was a pretty iconic one.
I'll throw out a multi-plat here and say Arkham City.
We had that on 360 as well, but it was.
So maybe I don't know if our audience played it on both.
It is fascinating to look at the numbers and what got higher votes on which system.
Actually, Gabriel Benchy mentioned Infamous. I'll give saying they'll give Infamous a go, and I haven't mentioned Infamous yet, so
true.
I'll say Infamous.
All right. I'll stick with Little Big Planet again, because I think if it's not here, I'll stop saying it. But I feel like this should be here.
All right, we got those guesses in, and at number 5. Little Big Planet.
Nice. There he is. There's that boy. I never really jived with the physics of these games, but I always felt the ambition was next level.
Same.
And the level creator was really really flexible too, because one of the key gimmicks of this game is you're on 3 different planes, so you can go like from the foreground to the background. And so in the level editor, you're also making on like basically 3 different planes, so it's kind of 3D in a way. And people could just make the most ridiculous stuff.
Yeah,
insane what people could make.
Yeah, there were official DLC packs for like Metal Gear, so they put a gun in there for some levels, and people made like Mega Man levels with that gun.
Yeah.
I played a bunch of Mario levels, and they were doing 4-player online in a side scroller way before Nintendo ever would touch anything like that. So you know, it just felt like a really tight community, and probably the first example of just a community-based level editor. So we've had level editors before, but this was the first one that really felt, you know, big.
Being able to share it and you know, having its own campaign to give you ideas, and here's stuff to unlock and work towards, and so forth. Like the main campaign was just charming. Like having the I forget who the narrator was, but you know, it just the charming British voice.
Stephen Fry, I think.
Stephen Fry. So yeah, charming British voice. Yeah, I'll take that. Thank you. It just fit the vibe. So yeah, having that single player campaign was great. I tried to do it, edit some levels. I couldn't do it. I'm just not a level creator. I can't do it, but it was cool to check out other people's stuff.
You kind of had to play it in its time though, because they took it offline. You can't just play online levels anymore.
Just
also, we got to pour one out for Sackboy, because he was recently unceremoniously removed from the PlayStation Studios logo in favor of Astro. And I love Astro. I love Astrobot, but why can't you have both? Come on. Sackboy's he
had his big adventure, but unfortunately people just talk about, well, why not both? Exactly. That's
he's iconic to PlayStation. Like, I mean, Astrobot absolutely deserves to be there, but you can have 2 family-friendly, kid-friendly PlayStation mascots, man.
I think a big adventure is it was a good game, but it kind of missed what Little Big Planet was. You know, it was a level editor. It was people make stuff, you play stuff. It's Mario Maker basically.
I really liked Big Adventure though, and I kind of wish that wasn't presumably Sackboy's last game.
Yeah,
because I really enjoyed that game, especially the levels with the licensed music and like all the level stuff happening in rhythm to the music. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Little Big Planet 1 was a little bit more stiff than 2 and 3, because like 2 and 3 you can play like change the actual game types. People made like shmups. In Little Big Planet 3, I remember someone made Mario Maker. So like they made like a Mario Maker UI, and you could place like Goombas and then play the level within the level edit. It was bonkers.
And then they went on to Dreams, which did not catch on the same way. Like it has some good
Dreams
ones.
is likewise amazing, but it didn't have a mascot.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't have a character to it. So like, I
for
think
those it caught on with, though, it caught on hard though. Like people made amazing stuff in Dreams.
I think people saw Sackboy, and that was kind of what got them into Little Big Planet. You have that single player.
Control his emotions. You can swing his arms around. You can give him a bunch of different costumes.
Oh, there's so many costumes.
He kind of is proto Astrobot in that way, because the costumes like
a little bit,
They sold a lot of them as DLC. You could get like a Cloud costume or a Sephiroth costume or Nathan Drake, anything really. They had so much,
just so many. It was great. Oh boy, but I could see it getting a revival, but also maybe not. It's hard to say whether they give that kind of thing, because kids love Minecraft, kids love Roblox, kids love creating things.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe find a way to keep it robust, but also simplify the controls a bit.
I mean, the fear is they had Media Molecule on a live service game that's now being cancelled. Because they've been on a big live service kick
for that team.
Yeah, they've been on a big live service kick. I bet they've been cooking something. Now they're like, oh wait, we can't do that now. So let's just have 5 years down the drain.
I mean, even with Mario Maker, Kai discovered it, and my son, and he just likes making levels. He doesn't. It's not good levels. He just likes placing the stuff. It's just tactilely pleasing to him to place all that stuff, to have the little music touches and stuff of Mario Maker. So whether it returns or not, we'll have to see. But it definitely was an icon of the PlayStation 3. So well deserved at number 5. But let's go ahead and move on to number 4, beating out Little Big Planet by 44 points.
Okay. What are you leaning to, Ash?
I guess I'll throw out. It might be higher than this. No, well, I was going to say Dark Souls, but it's probably higher. Honestly, it's probably top 3, but I can't think of anything else. Like I'm looking at like MotorStorm, but I don't think that's it. I don't think it's
MotorStorm Pacific Rift though is like peak. That's like one of the best racing games of that generation.
Good.
I didn't play it, although that's good to know because I love me some racing games. But I don't know. I don't see MotorStorm being top 4. Same thing with like Gran Turismo.
I'll say Dark Souls
or Demon Souls.
Dark Souls didn't make the 360 list, which shocked me.
Right.
Demon Souls is exclusive, gives it a much higher chance.
That's true. Maybe I'll go Demon Souls for that reason. Yeah.
Okay. I think this seems like a good place for Demon Souls. I will say The Last of Us, and I think if it weren't on PS4 and then we made it on PS5, it'll be higher than this. But I'll put it here.
Okay.
All right. At number 4, something I don't think either of you would have guessed because it just made me laugh with its placement. Little Big Planet 2.
What?
There's nothing more to say, really.
What? Okay.
Two did more stuff. You can make like different game modes and things, but otherwise it's more of the same.
Wow. Yeah.
It expanded it out. I was like there was a point where they were like 1 point difference. Like they were just neck and neck. And I remember it makes me wonder because back in the PSP, Little Big Planet got a push, and I wonder if those same people in that Reddit found Little Big Planet, so they got both Little Big Planet 1 and 2 into the top 10 right next to each other.
Yeah, I only played 1. I didn't play 2 or 3.
There's also Little Big Planet karting. Are we free from Little Big Planet, or is karting going to make it?
That's all the rest of the top 10 is just Little Big Planet. Because obviously Little Big Planet 3 is better than 2. I've never heard good things about 2 or 3, honestly. Well, for its campaign, I don't know about the rest because I've added multiplayer and whatnot. But Little Big Planet 2, Little Big Planet 2 is a game I didn't play because I felt like I got my fill with the first one. The second one really did get robust. Like I'd see news articles about look what this player made in Little Big Planet 2. It's like, what the hell? That's possible? How do you do that?
Yeah.
It's so cool. Yeah. But I think we've said everything we need to say about Little Big Planet.
Was there any other difference other than just more?
It's just being able to tweak the physics. I think that's one of the biggest things. You can just tweak physics. How the game's played.
Okay.
Which is big because I think Little Big Planet is just a really floaty platformer. I'm way more impressed by the levels people make than the actual gameplay. But here you can change the gameplay.
So there's that at least. So
yeah.
Repeat what we just said. I was like, well, that's going to make a conversation a little bit hard because they're not that distinct. But there we go. All right. We've reached the top 3. And so far, all these games have been relatively close. Like, again, Journey was at 745 points. Little Big Planet 2 was at 964 points. However, for our number 3 game, it is a massive jump of nearly 1,000 points.
1,000? Oh,
that's
man.
Crazy.
1,000 points difference between 4 and 3.
Wow. Okay.
I feel like the top 3 might be Demon Souls, The Last of Us, and Uncharted 2.
I would say I agree, except we're forgetting one that I feel should be higher. Maybe it just isn't. Just maybe it missed the boat. But what about MGS4?
Oh shit! Yeah.
MGS4. wait, we can't leave old. I know he's old in this game. We can't leave old Snake by the wayside.
No, you're right. Yeah, it's. Well, it's
really funny. You forgot that we were all saying like, yeah, MGS4 is what got us to get the system.
Yeah. Well, it's probably MGS4, The Last of Us, Uncharted 2 then.
That's what I'm thinking are the top 3.
But it feel weird not to have Demon Souls. But no, I think you're right. Yeah. Okay.
Man, the question is, what's the order?
I'm gonna say MGS4.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna say Demon Souls.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I lock that in then.
Lock those in. All right. At number 3, Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots.
Okay, I'm so happy you saved me there. It's one of the most iconic games of the PS3. It's what I think about when I think of the system, and for some reason, it's completely left my mind.
No, you can't have PS3 without MGS4. Like it's just there. No. And say what you will about this beautiful, messy ass game, but I loved MGS4. It's Kojima at his most unedited and unhinged, and I admit that the man needs an editor more than anybody else, maybe in the world, in terms of creatives. But man, when he goes on a tear and he hits, he really hits. And MGS4 is a mess, but man, that Shadow Moses chapter, that's peak gaming. Like that was, if you're a Metal Gear fan, you've been there since at least MGS1, and you play that chapter, that is like peak presentation in gaming.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The ending, like cutscenes back to back, I feel like it's like 3 hours of like uninterrupted cutscenes.
It was crazy. Yeah.
So much to wrap up on. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember I got to the final fight at like midnight, whatever day I was like playing and finishing it. And I'm like, well, it's midnight, checking I'll just go. I'll be done in an hour or two. 4 a.m. I'm finally going to bed. Like wrapping up.
Same thing happened to me.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Because you're invested at that point. You get to the end, you're crying. At least I was crying because it's just like really just driving in those emotional beats. And you're like, I gotta now I have to watch the rest of this. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
This was a one-sitting game for me. I bought it, just sat down, played the entire thing from start to finish.
Holy crap, that's dedication.
It was exhausting, but I couldn't stop.
It's not a short game.
It's not like as long as you think it would be, though. True. I think when you stack it all up, I think you can finish it in around like 12 hours-ish, which is still a long sitting. But it's such a cool like globetrotter, though, because like you're going from, you go from the desert, you go to like the forest, you get on Outer Heaven. There's so many different places you go in this game.
On one city level,
yeah.
And I'll never forget loading up the next area though, because you'd have just like, here's Snake smoking again as we load up the next.
You load it in,
uninstall and reinstall and all that stuff. It's like
you get those little transitions with Sunny as well, making eggs.
Right.
And the gameplay is hugely evolved from previous ones. Like we get proper third-person controls now. You can run and gun far easier than MGS3 and MGS2. I love the camo too, because like in 3 you've got to pause the menu, change your camo, and it was cool doing.
Oh yeah.
But in 4 you just go against the surface and you become the same color as it. It just felt so cool and futuristic. What year did it take place in? It was like, have we gone past the year of MGS4 now?
I have no idea what it's.
I want to say it's like it's probably like 2015 or something.
Also, as Alpha Line reminds us, this was the game that blessed the world with Cyborg Ninja Raiden. Raiden was a joke up to now, and I never had much of a problem with Raiden in MGS2. I enjoyed him for what he was and what narratively what they were trying to do with him, but MGS4 made him cool, and that was what led to Metal Gear Rising. And the Raiden that we know of today, but he wasn't always that cool, badass cyborg ninja.
Yeah, taking down those mooing walkers with that sword in his mouth. It was such a cool scene.
Yep. Yeah.
By the way, Terry in the chat is right. It was 2014 that this takes place in.
Interesting. Cool. We're way past that distant future.
War changed a decade ago.
The introduction of Raiden was cool because they made fun of him in MGS3, and he was like, okay, we're gonna actually make him cool in this one, like very edgy type thing where he takes out all this stuff. But it's you think that the funny thing is I can think to a memorable moment in every sequence, and then we have all the girls that are like the amalgamations of past bosses that also have their own fun.
Right. What do they call the Beauty and the Beast squad or something, or
something like that.
Yeah.
There's so many cool parts in this game. When Ocelot takes over, all the soldiers with those nanomachines, but Snake doesn't get controlled, or the microwave scene, or Raiden just being decapitated. Like there's so many cool parts.
The microwave scene.
That, and then I do love the little twist on Johnny. And the character Johnny coming from where he does and ends up where he is, where he's at. That's that's something.
Yeah. I know when I think of like physically painful video game scenes, the microwave scene is like the first thing I think of when I think of something that was physically painful to play through, right?
Yeah.
I also love how this. I don't think it's a spoiler to say this, but the game ends with a fist fight between two old men.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so good.
I was just about to mention what Live Audience mentioned about the disc swapping scene. There's a codec where Ocelot calls you up at the point in MGS1 where you swap the discs, and he's like, "Time to swap the disc, Snake." He goes, "Oh wait, it's a Blu-ray disc. No need to swap."
I completely forgot about that. It's so good.
This feels like such a hard game to port. Like it's probably a wonder it hasn't been ported yet. But how? Like
you've
got to cut some stuff. You've got to cut some lines.
Yeah. It's tricky. It's
related, not even similarly related, but quick tangent. Have you guys seen the new opening movie for MGS Delta? Because they just released it like a couple
I haven't.
days ago.
No.
So good. They brought back Cynthia Harrell, however you say it, to sing a new version of Snake Eater, and it's so good, you guys.
Oh, nice.
You know what? One thing we've not actually talked about with MGS4, Metal Gear Online. Metal Gear Online was also
I never played around with that.
Yeah, I didn't play as much as I wanted to, but it was just really cool to use all those mechanics against other people, because mechanically this game's pretty robust, like far more than the previous ones.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh god, I forgot about all the Apple placement.
Oh yeah.
Sheesh. All right. Well, that is Metal Gear Solid 4. Not too big of a surprise that it made this top 10 list because, let's go ahead and move on to our number 2 PlayStation 3 game of all time, beating out Metal Gear Solid 4 by 82 points.
Right. So we've got 3 candidates.
Close.
It's The Last of Us, Uncharted 2, or Demon's Souls.
I think at this point it's not going to be Demon's Souls.
No, I think you're right.
And I think Uncharted 2 has to be number 1. So I'm going to go The Last of Us for this.
Yeah. Just to cover our bases, I'll say Uncharted 2, but I feel like Uncharted 2 should be number 1.
Mm-hmm. Agree. That was my number 1.
Okay. At number 2, The Last of Us.
Okay.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yep.
I mean,
it's The Last of Us. So
yeah, this game sucked you in at the time. Like, people say what you will about Last of Us now, and it's been re-released so often, and people have opinions and all that stuff. But when this game originally came out, holy crap, it grabbed your attention, and I was sad when I was so invested when when it first came out and playing through it on PlayStation 3, and then but I couldn't put myself through it again so soon when my game broke, or my PS3 broke. I traded in my PS3 copy so I can get a cheaper version of the PS4 copy, and then it's like, okay, we're good. And then
this is one of those games that made PS4 not seem like such a big leap, because we had this on PS3 just a few months, like a year or so, maybe just months earlier, and it was so visually impressive. And it still is today. That PlayStation 3 version still looks really, really good. And it came at the right time, too. Like with Uncharted, I feel like after 3, it felt like it needed a bit of a break, a bit of a revision. And The Last of Us was just this total tonal change. You're taking it slower. It's far more character-driven, too. And it was one of the best examples of storytelling in a video game, where it just felt really grounded and serious with proper performances, and it was just a big turning point. And after The Last of Us, it literally was a turning point where most PlayStation franchises kind of used it as a blueprint. Like,
it's like, we want to be that. It's like, okay, can you do other stuff now that now Astrobot feels like a breath of fresh air?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a story that endures. And I say this literally just last night, having watched the season 2 finale of The Last of Us on TV. Like that, of course, that's based on part 2, but still, the core story that begins with the first game still endures to this day. And there's a reason it places this highly. There's a reason it's so beloved, and I would say it absolutely deserves the placement it has. My fun The Last of Us story is that I had to restart it because the first time I played it, back at the time I was a senior editor for Udon, the art book publishing company, and at the same time they had this line that I worked on called Manga Classics, which were like manga versions of literary classics like Huckleberry Finn and blah blah blah, the literary classics, right? And so at the time I was editing a manga classics version of Les Mis. And if you ever read Les Mis, it's really sad. It lives up to its name. It is miserably sad. And so I was editing that at the same time I was playing The Last of Us. And I was like, I can't do both. I can't. It's just too much sad media at once. So I had to pause my playthrough of The Last of Us, finish Les Mis, and then I restarted it later on and properly enjoyed it. But both are very sad. Don't play those. Don't do those two things. Don't consume those two things.
Well, it's Last of Us is sad, but there's also a lot of hope in there.
There is,
and the way that Joel and Ellie develop feels really touching. It does become like a father and daughter relationship, which makes the ending hurt even more. Because the right thing isn't happening, and so when that switch off happens at the end, you feel it in your heart.
And it's also one of those things as when you're playing through that last sequence, I feel like each player kind of has their own thoughts as they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's fascinating in that way. It's also one of those things where the gameplay of Last of Us does not get talked about that much in comparison to the story. Like this is very, very much one of those story first games. The gameplay is fine.
It's
fun.
good, yeah. But like you'll be sneaking around and trying to be quiet, throwing bottles everywhere, and then NPC Ellie comes smashing through, making all this noise, causing no reaction.
Yeah. That was the one part of the game that always took me out of it, like in terms of the ambiance. Like, just seeing NPC Ellie, as you said, John, but it's still, and in terms of storytelling in video games, definitely a high watermark.
Yeah. I will say, I saw in live audience, one person was saying that PS5 is now the definitive way. I think one thing PS5 lacks is factions. And this was something that PS3 did a lot in its era, where you get the single player and then you get a big multiplayer component too. I think in the PS4 era, a lot of single player games like ditched doing multiplayer. But Factions rocks. Factions is really, really good. And we'll get to this even more with Uncharted 2, which I assume is number one, because that game's multiplayer is fantastic. But Factions was just like a really great extension. Like you finish the game and then you've got this whole other realm to stay in. Because as we were saying, the story is the best part of The Last of Us, but the gameplay is just kind of fine. It's good, but it's not like the exceptional draw. But in multiplayer, I think those mechanics actually do really sing, and you get a very different vibe to most other sort of shooting games.
Probably because of the slower pace and the more I don't know how to put it, but kind of a slower paced gameplay. I once again, that's a multiplayer I never checked out. I just wasn't much of an online player at the time. I just wasn't. I was there for the main story. I got that. Cool. I'm going to move on to the next game and see that story.
The only online like shooter experience I really got into around this same time was on 360, but a multi-plat game, Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 3's multiplayer was so incredibly fun. But I've always heard great things about The Last of Us Factions, and I never, for whatever reason, never got into it myself.
Mine was Bad Company 2, but actually, did Factions come to the PS4 version? That might also be.
It did. It was in the PS4 version. Okay. Yeah. So if you want the full Last of Us, you're gonna have to have both the PS5 remake and PS4 to play Factions.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah, just good stuff all around. So, not a surprise at all for Last of Us to be here, but. What is our number one PlayStation 3 game of all time?
It's Uncharted
Final
2.
Fantasy 13. No, it's Uncharted 2.
Well, we'll put both out there just in case. FF13 and Uncharted 2.
Yeah.
Beating out The Last of Us by 362 points. Uncharted 2 Among Thieves.
What else?
I wonder if I'll get to a point where number one actually surprises you guys.
I know, right?
I don't think so.
Number one, like
I will say with this, in the PS4 collection, again they ditched multiplayer. So Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3 rip it out, and the online in Uncharted 2 is like I feel like it's PS3's Halo.
It's really good. I've been saying it's tied down. I didn't check out online. I played the online of Uncharted 2, and it was hella fun.
I played a bit of it, and I remember liking it a lot.
Yeah, it's just classic like deathmatchy stuff. But Uncharted 2's mechanics are so strong. Like you can just like pick up one of those jugs and throw it at someone, shoot it, cause a big explosion. It goes really hand in hand with the platforming. Like you can be climbing, trying to get to a vantage point while being shot at. Get those power weapons. I feel like it's one of the best multiplayer games Sony's ever really had. But for whatever reason, it's offline now, and they never ported it forward, so it's just kind of stuck to time.
It's just really a shame. It's also, oh, do I tell the embarrassing story or not? Oh,
I think you should. You've got it now.
You can't couch it like that and then not tell it.
So I did not have I never had a headset or anything like that. I always just, it wasn't required on PlayStation 3, so I just didn't use it. But I'd play online and I'd be able to hear other people chat, and it's kind of amusing. And it was also nice that it really wasn't that, vitriolic. It seemed like most of the time. It seemed like it was mostly fine. And another side sort of this is that oh, some of you are familiar with this story.
Oh, I love this story.
So my handle on PlayStation 3 was Virgin Wolf. And the reason for that is because I like wolves. And I also was reading Virginia Woolf at the time in college. And for some reason, I thought the two going together sounded cool. Not really thinking about it. I don't know why. So I was just like, let's go with that. And I was playing one of the maps in Uncharted 2 and had my best game. Was just absolutely decimating the other team. They had no chance, completely beating out winning out over my teammates. And so the guys that were actually on headsets started just screaming out, "Yeah, go Virgin! Hell yeah, Virgin! Go Virgin!" I'm like, oh, this handle was a mistake.
So good.
I forget if this was Uncharted 2 or 4. But one of them lip syncs your headset voice to the character. I think it was 2. I think 2 did that.
I don't know about that one, but that's funny.
But I don't. The multiplayer was great, but I think most people know it for the single player.
Oh, single player is
it's just such a complete package.
No, it is. Uncharted 2 is like one of the best sequels, just as a proper sequel to the first game. It's comparable to like Mega Man 2. I feel like it just takes everything the first game was, and it builds it out better in every way than in the first game. It's better gameplay, better narrative, better sound design, better graphics, better set pieces. It takes the base of what the first game was, and it just makes it bigger and better.
Yeah.
And it's just one of the best core sequels ever made.
Totally. Like the first game is just Nate in a forest the whole time, and it's beautiful. The gameplay's set there; it's great. But 2 just takes you. You go through the snowy fields on that crashed train. You go through a prison escape. There's so many cool parts in there.
What a great way to get you just hooked right away. Yeah, the train sequence, of course, is great, but just what a great thing to just have it start with. Nathan in trouble on the side of a mountain. On a train. It's like, how did he get here?
Good.
Yeah. And literally every character is just so lovable and fun.
Yeah.
And it's colorful too. Like this was an era where all games were like looking kind of gray and drab, and then Uncharted 2 is just this big just array of colors. It's just a really beautiful game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really felt next gen in a way that Uncharted 1 didn't.
Yeah, totally. And this was very much based on Gears of War as well, which is interesting. Like those cover mechanics and just the core shooting is ripped straight from Gears of War. But you get just such a different vibe, because that's a very dark and drab game. Whereas this one just gives hope and whimsy and Indiana Jones flair. And it's just such a cool mix to mix that with like Tomb Raider as well, with the platforming. Just mixes all these wonderful things together to give you one of the best games of that generation.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget, because I ended up playing every single Uncharted game twice, kind of back to back, because I played on my own, enjoy it, have my fun, and then I had a certain friend who wasn't interested in playing the game, but wanted to watch me play the game as if it was a movie. So it was me working on trying to be as cinematic as possible so we can enjoy this and see what it's all about and get the right angles and knowing what's coming up. And okay, I got the gameplay down so I can not die as often and really just hunt it all down. And it's good memories. For some reason, just playing for that friend was just a really good time. It's like, yeah, I want to make this like see how good this is and how fun
I had a
this
really
is.
similar experience with Uncharted 4, where Roxy just watched me play the entire thing like a movie. Just I wasn't allowed to play without her watching, because it just wanted to be involved. I think there are even commercials for Uncharted 2 like that. I think there was one where it's like a guy playing, there's a girlfriend with popcorn on the couch thinking this was a movie. And what you're saying was basically part of the advertising.
It's amazing how that worked out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Uncharted 2, I that was my number one. I can't imagine anything else being here. Yeah.
No, it was definitely my favorite. Is this peak Naughty Dog? I think this might be peak Naughty Dog.
Yeah, I think 4 is very good too, but Uncharted 2 is just it's so easy to replay. Whereas Uncharted 4 for me was kind of like it was great the first time, a little bloated to return to, and the multiplayer is nowhere near as good as 2's either.
Right.
Very much so. So yeah, there is our top 10 PlayStation 3 games. And unlike the 360, very much categorized by the fact that it's all exclusives.
Yeah.
Right.
Every single game was an exclusive. That's where Sony excelled at. And I think that's why they ended up kind of winning in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they had to come with games. They were losing. So, they just had to play with what they had. And they had some really, really good games in that era.
Yeah, they got it figured out. PS3 was a pain to develop for, but they figured it out. And when they did, it really did show off what it could do.
Yeah. So. It is surprising to have no Souls games in either platform, because fast forward, I think it's one of the most influential games of that time. So no Demons or Dark Souls is interesting. But open up multi-platform, and I think they're going to show up.
Yeah, I think we'll be doing multi-platform on this one, just because there's some other notable games I think feel like they should be mentioned, and we'll see what ones make that. As far as when we get to that point, it's a little ways off before we get to that one, though.
I think PS3 is often just overlooked in the PlayStation discussion in general. Like everyone talks about 1 and 2. Or in 5, a lot of people talk about 4, but I feel like PS3 often gets passed over due to its slow start, the $600 price tag. There's a lot that was wrong with the launch, but then, when it came into its own and it caught up and it built out its own library, as evidenced by our top 10 here today, the PS3 really did make a name for itself. And there are so many other games that didn't make the collective top 10 that made mine personally that were also exclusives, especially in the indie scene. Like I said, like the Pixel Junk games and whatever. But we didn't even talk about Final Fantasy, and those are still exclusive at the time. Now the best way, ironically, is to play 13 is on 360 or on Xbox Series. But once all is said and done, the PS3 really has a pretty special legacy that isn't quite as evident.
I have a lot of fondness for PS3.
Level.
Yeah, same. Yeah. I often hear this is like the worst PlayStation. I don't think it is.
No, I could.
But we're going to hear another 40 games, though, and I'm sure this is going to make it even more impactful to how much PS3 had.
Yep. So, shall we get to it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. At number 11, losing out to Journey by 65 points, Dark Souls.
Oh, man. Can we take off Uncharted 3 and just place that back in there?
Right? I agree. Yeah.
It was neck and neck. Honestly, for a while there, Persona 5 was at number 10, and Dark Souls was only like 20 points behind, but then it got a final push that put it above Journey, and Journey had enough more votes that Dark Souls couldn't quite catch up.
I guess there were a few questionable ones, like 2 Little Big Planets, which is inevitable. You can't stop that. People love them both. Uncharted 3 and then Persona 5. Because they're all great games, but I'm not sure if they should all. Do
they represent the PS? Persona 5 does it represent the PS3?
Yeah.
The one that really needs to get out of here for me is Uncharted 3. Uncharted 3 does not get out of here. It does not deserve to be in the top 10. It just doesn't. It doesn't.
Screw all those people who voted for it.
I for all you people who voted for it, I love you. I just disagree with you. It's okay.
He says he loves you, you're just wrong.
Yeah.
Although something else could have been number 3 and number 11 instead, because it only behind by 3 points. Portal 2.
Oh man, we had this in 360 at least.
Yes, so this wasn't in the top 10 on the 360.
Yeah.
So,
but this version had exclusive PlayStation Move controls, which are actually good. So,
and you got the Steam version for free. So
exactly.
it's a good value.
Yeah.
Number 13, Sonic Generations.
Can't argue with that. Great
This
game.
was
Once
another
again,
360 one, wasn't it?
Yeah, made the
That
top
was in my
10 on
top 10 on 360. Yeah.
Funny how that is. Number 14, Batman Arkham City.
Another
Okay.
360
Again, on
one.
top of the 360.
I believe this had 3D support on PS3.
Yes, I believe you're right.
And I think Joker had like exclusive, or was it Asylum? There was like PS3 exclusive DLC.
Asylum, I
to
think, had an
Arkhams.
exclusive Joker quest. Or
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. Asylum had that. It's really funny to see the top games that were on, like the top third-party games that were on Xbox 360 be forced down to the top 20 on PS3. That's just, again, the strength of those first-party titles.
For sure.
At number 15, Demon's Souls.
Okay.
Man.
Lost out the Dark Souls by 72 points, just to have that.
I agree that Dark Souls is the more influential and better game, but Demon's Souls is a pretty defining PS3 game, though, especially in the early days.
Got people talking about it. It took me like 4 tries to finally click with me.
Yeah.
And I've told this story multiple times, but I beat the first 2 areas, feeling good. I'm like, all right, I got this thing down. Got to the mines, did one attack too many, fell off the edge of a cliff, and I don't know whether I couldn't find the contraption to bring back up the mine shaft elevator to go back down or what, but I could not figure out how to get back down to my body. And I was like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah.
I was just too pissed off.
There's a lot of jank to Demon's Souls. But also the remake doesn't actually change anything. Like it's basically the same game with new visuals layered on top. But mechanically, it's pretty much the exact same thing. So whether you play it now or all the way back then, you're still getting the same experience, and people still they love Demon's Souls on PS5 all over again. I think it's a flawed but charming game.
Mm-hmm. At number 16, my favorite PlayStation 3 game, and shame on all of you who did not get this into the top 10.
Uh-oh.
Shame,
dear,
Valkyria Chronicles.
Yeah.
That's a good top 10.
This is one of the best strategy titles of all time.
Yeah,
totally. 100%.
With a fantastic story, great characters. It should be in the top 10.
Honestly, it should. It's really it deserves to be in the top 10 way more than Uncharted 3. I'll tell you that.
It felt so hands-on too. Like every other strategy game, you're from a top-down moving units. Here you are the units. You just take control, move them any way you want. It just felt really, really. It just felt like you were doing it. And then Codename Steam did it again.
Yeah,
another
one. Not quite as well, but it's still I still have close enough that I was excited when I was the only one excited for Codename Steam when it got announced because it's Valkyria Chronicles. Yes,
right.
Yeah, but Valkyria Chronicles so beautiful, so tactical, so vast. It's on Switch. You can play it there right now.
Yeah, play it right now. You should play it right now. It's really good. Mechanically, Valkyria Chronicles 4 does improve upon it. So it definitely plays better in that sequel, which makes sense. But man, I love Valkyria Chronicles so much. It just clicked with me between the art style and everything else. And I was pushing. I was really hoping it would make that top 10. But at least it's top 20. Not that it gets voted on, but at least it's top 20.
Yeah.
Right.
Man.
At number 17, Infamous 2.
Cool. Yeah, this deserves to be,
every slot down we go that FF13 isn't mentioned, and Angel loses its wings. I want you to know. Just saying. Just saying.
At number 18, losing out to Infamous 2 by 1 point, Red Dead Redemption.
So this falls on the 360 list, right?
It did not make it. It was number 11.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it barely didn't make it.
Red Dead Redemption did not make either list, which again might put up a better showing when we go to do a third party.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, Red Dead should be there though. Red Dead was so cool, so good.
Yeah,
Man.
we'll have to see. Just I'm curious as we get to the later systems how much it's going to be split between exclusives and third party. It's why it's people might wonder like, why don't you do third party first? It makes it simple. Makes it simpler because I exclude the ones that made the top 10 when we get there. But I think it's more interesting to have it wide open.
Right, because there's a lot of really big games that should be here, like Street Fighter, Red Dead, GTA 4, but they're not. I think that's why we have to do it.
Yeah. At number 19, Infamous, the original Infamous.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Cool.
So pretty close together. At number 20, Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay, if 13 doesn't make the top 25, I'm riding. I
wonder if Grand Theft Auto 5 is an interesting one where I wonder what system people associate that with, because it is on PS4, it is on PS5.
Unlike Persona 5, people did play this on PS3. Like it was breaking records when it came out. So I'm not going to be like, did you play it here? They did, but
I do forget though that it originally came out on PS3 these days.
Yeah,
I worked in a supermarket the day this came out, and it was just this huge queue out the store at the customer service desk for copies of GTA 5, and they sold out within like 10 minutes.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
That was definitely an event. Man, remember when I don't know what Rockstar was doing that they put out GTA 4, 5, and Red Dead Redemption all in the same console generation.
Yeah, they were on fire, and then they just slept for a decade.
It was like, oh, we have GTA Online. We don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Number 21, Batman Arkham Asylum.
The better one.
Yep, the better one. I agree. There are dozens of us, John. Dozens.
It's a group of 3 right here.
Oh, you like Asylum more than City 2? I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's aspects of a City that are definitely better than Asylum.
They're both good games.
Yeah, they're both.
They're pretty much equal, but I have a slight preference for Asylum.
Mm-hmm. It's just so focused.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At number 22, one of them, I own it, but I've not taken the time to play it. I really need to. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Oh, you've not played Revengeance?
Not played Revengeance.
Well, the time will come. This one's off the walls. Yeah, this one's just nuts.
So good.
I've
One
seen
of the best final boss fights.
Yeah, I've seen the final boss fight. It's
Yeah,
like, okay, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's what a story that game is, but at least it came out fun. At number 23, Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch.
I've been hating on this game lately.
Oh, really?
I've been hating on it. I think it's beautiful. Ghibli did an amazing job with the visuals, or the art direction at least. Music's beautiful. Story can be beautiful. In the first half, then it gets kind of tedious. The gameplay, never beautiful. Gameplay's just fine. Gameplay's just okay. Never gets more than okay.
I enjoyed it for what it was, but it's also one of those things where I finished it and I kind of forgot. Like a lot of the details just sort of started leaving me, to the point where it's like, wait, what did end up happening to Oliver's mom? I couldn't remember.
if you look at the meta score, it scored like 90 or something like that, something really high. And I think the reason for that is just there weren't games like this in this generation. They weren't like most of the time.
RPGs on this generation were not a thing.
Yeah, they died out completely. It was so hard to find, an RPG with an overworld with towns and battles. They weren't really linear because it's just hard to keep up with HD costs. So I think Ni no Kuni just gets by because it was like one of the only ones that did that.
Yeah, I
think it's just okay.
It's fine. It doesn't do anything special other than the fact that it is a playable Miyazaki RPG, and it looks, as you said, John, looks beautiful. But as a game, it's entirely unremarkable.
Mm-hmm.
At 24, Uncharted: Drake's Fortune.
Okay, I figured Uncharted 1 had to be there, somewhat higher up there. Okay.
Yeah, getting there. Then there's a bit of, all those were in the 400s. Like some of those were only like 3 points apart. Like it was pretty close. At 25, Tales of Xillia.
Wow. Tales of and Ni no Kuni before 13. You know what? No.
Not having this.
Remember when Ash was voting, saying this was going to be in the top 10?
I figured like 8 was the ceiling, but I didn't think it would be below 25. You know what? No. FF13, it'll have its redemption arc one day. People are going to someday realize how good it actually was. And I'm going to be sitting here on my high horse saying it.
They've got to associate. If you really analyze Final Fantasy VII Remake, you're going to see a lot of Final Fantasy 13 in there.
You're right.
No, you do. That's the thing.
You're right.
13's legacy is the stagger system. That's 13's legacy. That stagger system is going on to every Final Fantasy since.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
So, but speaking of, at 26, Final Fantasy 13.
Okay.
Just barely missed it. That's so funny. Okay.
Tales of Xillia by 2 points.
That's funny. 2 points. Okay.
You okay with that? Are you happy?
Just think, if I had put FF13 at number 1 instead of Uncharted 2, it would have made the top 25. Damn it.
Yep, it's your fault.
It's my fault. I did it. Yeah. That's funny.
At 27, Grand Theft Auto 4.
Man.
Okay.
I think we need a revolution on our viewers. They've got to... They see GTA as just this little thing, little nothing franchise. We got to change them.
Well, it's been how long since the new games come out that it's kind of it might be forgotten to some degree.
Shell Shock says GTA 4 is overrated. I've been playing it again recently. I feel like it's the best one. In fact, I think it's so cool. But that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. 28, Ratchet and Clank Future Tools of Destruction.
Great game. That was my personal entry into the Ratchet and Clank series, and I look back upon it very fondly.
Mm-hmm. It was great time. Love the upgrade. At 29, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, which I protest a little bit about because of that save glitch that I encountered. But all right, it's still a good game. But man, that save glitch sucks. At number 30, Nier.
Okay.
Oh, the original Nier. Okay.
The original Nier, which I have played, and God, that game's a vibe.
The original Sad Dad game.
Yeah.
I guess
sad dad for US, sad brother for
You're right.
Yeah, no, Nier's amazing. Like there's moments of tedium, but they kind of add up to a better experience. You got to push yourself through the more tedious bits to get, and it makes a better whole for doing so. And there's nothing quite like Nier, and there still isn't really. Even Automata's not like the first Nier.
Not exactly, no. So I'm glad they remade it, so more people can actually try it. And that remake is absolutely worth giving a shot. So yeah, if you're interested in Nier at all, music is gorgeous. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
At 31, BioShock.
Much higher on 360. It was a top 10 on 360, right?
Yeah. I need to double check.
I feel like it was.
I think it was.
Yeah, I think like it was.
Yes, it was number 6 on the 360 list.
But it was also timed exclusive on 360.
So it was out longer on the 360. So it's easy to have a connection with the 360. Like that one still feels kind of 360 exclusive, even though it's not.
Playing shooters on PS3 as well, the triggers slope down rather than sort of curve up. So sometimes it feels like you're slipping off. So it wasn't. I think that R1 and L1 were often the shoot and the aim button rather than L2 and R2. It wasn't the place for shooters really.
I know a lot of people are pretty sour on it, but BioShock Infinite just narrowly missed my top 10 on both the 360 and PS3 lists. I really enjoyed Infinite, despite
I understand Infinite's flaws, but God, I still love that game.
Same. I really liked Infinite. Yeah.
At 32, 3D Game Heroes.
Oh,
I love
cool game.
From Software game.
Yeah. Would you like to have some Zelda on your PlayStation 3?
Yeah.
I was hoping this would make the top 50. I love this game. Yeah.
Yeah. You get like a big ass sword that takes up the entire screen.
So good.
All the voxels going all over the place.
Yeah. From Software made that Shell Shock.
You'd be surprised how much From Software is made. Like they have so much more variety than people realize.
Yeah, totally.
That feels like a game that should be re-released on Switch or Switch 2. Like it feels like it's very Nintendo coded, obviously, Zelda coded.
Yeah, totally.
At 33, Sonic Unleashed.
Okay.
Yeah. But back in the day, this would not touch a top 50. The fan opinion has changed so much over the years.
It's amazing how the redemption arc Sonic Unleashed has gone through. 34. This is where we have our Street Fighters for original, super, arcade, ultra.
Okay.
I feel like this is revisionism. Street Fighter 4 was
huge.
Big. It was huge.
It was so massively influential in terms of reviving the fighting game scene, right?
Yeah. This brought back fighters.
Yeah, it's still so distinct to this day. Like that character selection screen goes on forever.
Yeah.
And
it does.
The vanilla opening theme still just ingrained in my mind.
And I still remember the launch party it had here in LA. Like Capcom rented out a whole ass warehouse and just had like this like urban warehouse launch party for Street Fighter 4 had like live DJs and like people playing on a big screen like in a tournament. It was one of the best gaming events I've been to ever, like launch parties, whatever. It was so cool.
Yeah, man.
We are going to have a 2000s to present arcade list, so I wonder if it'll make it there, because it did have an arcade release.
Associate it with the arcade in the West, do they?
I don't think so, but I don't know. Maybe we'll find out.
Also, Indestructible was and will
so good.
always be a bot.
Why did they get rid of that?
Yeah, that's why Super and Ultra are no good. Vanilla's the only good one.
Yep, I agree. Yep. No Indestructible. I don't want to play it.
Yeah.
At 35, Marvel versus Capcom 3 / Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom 3.
Sure. Yeah.
Again, just brilliant.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Shock's just it's not higher because again, it was a huge deal.
Massive deal. Yeah.
It'd be higher if they hadn't cut Mega Man and only had 0 in there, but you know, what can you say?
You'll take your Tron Bon and like it.
Yeah.
At 36, Katamari Forever.
Oh, great game.
Yep. At 37, Yakuza 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
At 38, we got a tie. Tales of Grace's F and PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
No,
I forgot that PlayStation All-Stars was originally a PS3 game. That's crazy.
I don't dislike PlayStation All-Stars. I think it's fun. It's wacky.
Yeah, same.
You've got a stage where a Loco Roco jumps on a Metal Gear. Like it's it's fun. I don't know if it's a top 50.
It definitely
is funny to see that All-Stars Battle Royale, again, power of maybe exclusives, was only respectively 20 and 30 points behind Street Fighter and Marvel. Which is weird.
That's crazy, actually.
That is crazy. There was a chance it could have scored higher.
It really came out at the right time. It came out right in the middle of that long lull between Brawl and Smash 4, right? Like that was how many years was that? Like almost 8, 9 years or something. I can't, but it was like we had gone so many years without a new Smash game, and it came out right in the middle of that gap.
Yeah.
If only they had a better battle system.
Yeah.
I like that it was distinct though. It wasn't just Smash.
It wasn't just a Smash clone.
It is distinct, but there's having to rely on specials just made it so uninteresting.
Yeah, it was cool having the story mode though, where characters actually interacted with each other.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of great ideas.
They have like unique scenes.
Are really great, but also like it struggled with the roster. Nobody wanted to get. They didn't have the trust that Sakurai had. Like,
well, they got Cat as DLC. That's all that matters.
They got Cat as DLC. That is a big deal. We got Big Daddy. We got Dante from DMC.
Yeah,
we got Raiden.
Yeah.
Raiden, not Snake.
it's one of those things. Like the developers really didn't trust them to put in their players. It's weird.
There are two giant Lara Croft and Cloud shaped holes in that roster.
100%.
And Crash Bandicoot and Spyro.
You're right. The fact that Cloud got into Smash before PlayStation All-Stars will always be one of the funniest gaming stories.
I think they asked and they just said no.
Probably. I think they did ask. And I think there was, if I remember correctly, there were like preliminary plans to have Lightning be added as DLC, but then the game just didn't do well enough. So that never happened.
Yeah. One of the things that hurts the most is every stage is like a mashup of two franchises, and there's a Cut, Gravity Rush, and Journey mashup stage.
Right.
And there's an image out there of it, but we can never have it.
Yeah. And bringing back Dart from Legend of Dragoon, that's an inspired choice.
Yeah.
That was a cancelled one, wasn't it?
Yeah. It died before that point. Yeah. I feel a few tweaks here and there. PlayStation All-Stars could have been a bigger thing.
Yeah, totally.
But way it goes. At number 40, Mass Effect 2.
Mass Effect 2 is iconic.
Huge. It's great, but again, I think there's so much more association with Xbox 360.
It must have been higher on the Xbox list.
This was a top 10, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good to know because I obviously missed last week's discussion, but Mass Effect 2 is in my top 10 360. I think it was like number 2 for me or something. It was really high.
It's pretty high up on the list. Yeah.
It's funny how certain third-party titles are just you associate more with the 360.
Yeah.
At 41, Tales of Xillia 2.
All right.
So getting some Tales representation in here. I've seen Tales has still struggled to get into that top 10, but they're present in those top 50s and top 25s.
Yeah.
At 42, Sly Cooper Thieves in Time.
It was okay.
All right.
It was all right. It wasn't peak Sly.
No, I'd say 2 is honestly peak Sly.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Here's a fun one. At 43, the Puppeteer.
Oh, Puppeteer rocks.
Oh, I forgot about that game. Yeah.
It's so fun. Yeah.
Great stuff. At 44, here is Tokyo Jungle.
This should be massive.
It should be download only, and it's unfortunately been forgotten over time because it's not been re-released, which is the biggest crime.
Yeah, they're doing like Patapon and Everybody's Golf on Switch. This is a prime candidate to port to Switch. Like, it's just such a pick up and play handheld game, even though it's never been on a handheld for some reason. I don't get it. It
makes no sense. You just show that Shiba again, touch up the graphics maybe a bit, show it fighting for its life in Tokyo. Yes, that'll get people interested.
Yeah,
do it. At 45, Assassin's Creed 2.
It was big. It was really big, and this was another one. Was it top 10 360 or near the top 10?
It was near the top 10. I don't think it made it. I don't think it made the top 10.
Maybe not, but this was a massive turning point.
Yeah, this it came from, oh, that's a neat idea, to, oh, this is actually good.
Yeah.
But 46 actually tied at 46. Catherine and Heavy Rain.
Okay. I was wondering if Heavy Rain make the top 50. I guess it barely.
Heavy Rain's reputation has definitely plummeted since it first released.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It was like one of those go-to PS3 games, and now it's sort of become a little bit of a joke. It can still be very good, but it can also be a very funny game if you just do everything wrong.
Oh yeah, I mean, me versus Mod says Jason. Yeah.
And then Catherine's a great game.
Catherine's a great game.
Puzzle adventure.
It's Pushmo. It's sexy Pushmo.
Yeah,
that's a great way to describe it. Sexy Pushmo. Yeah.
And then we have another tie at 48 between Yakuza 4 and Fallout New Vegas.
All right.
I'm surprised all these posers out there who put Persona 5 in the top 10 haven't put Yakuza 0 higher than the 5 and 4, because that was also a PS3 game in Japan.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. Yeah.
Yakuza did get votes, just not enough to make that top 50. I think it'd be top 75. But those are our you can really sense that this is when Yakuza was starting to take off a bit as a franchise.
Yeah.
And finally, at number 50, Rayman Legends.
Oh, I hope this scores so much. Either this or Origins, I hope scores so much higher on the multi-platform list, because they are just chef kiss.
Honestly, I associate Legends with Wii U.
Yeah, same.
Probably go on my Wii U list.
Yeah. That's like me with Sonic Transform. That'll be in my Wii U list.
Just to have some other extras, just to round out the rest. After 50 we got Kingdom Hearts HD 2.5 Remix, Yakuza 3, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, the Tomb Raider Remake, Bayonetta, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, Mortal Kombat 9, and then Mod Nation Racers and Bioshock Infinite tied with 136 points, and right below that was Final Fantasy 13-2.
I was curious about 13-2. Mod Nation Racers, I completely
that's a cool one. Bayonetta on PlayStation 3 is a weird one.
A lot of these are it's like single point differences, or maybe 3-point differences. They are so close to one another.
No Motorstorm at all though nearby them. Pacific Rift is so good.
Yeah, for comparison's sake, John, Rayman Legends had 166 points. Pacific Rift had 127.
Oh man, okay.
And it was the top of the Motorstorm games, but
cool.
Sony hasn't really said much about Motorstorm in a long time.
No. They shut down that developer went on to do the Drive games on PS4 and then shut down. So they're gone.
I have to ask, and of course I goofed on this before thinking it was on PSP and it wasn't, but did anybody vote for Sound Shapes besides
let's see here. It got 31 points.
Okay, so a few other people out there know how cool that game is. Yeah,
it's mostly like that's mostly you though. It's like you and two other people.
It's me and two other people. Okay, then one more I have to ask. Dyad. Did anybody else vote for Dyad?
Dyad. It's DYAD.
DYAD.
I got It got 2 points. I think you're the only one.
It's just me. Okay, you know what? Then I'm gonna link it here in chat so people can check out this rad ass game. It's PS3 locked or locked to PS3 console wise, but it's on Steam. And if you like just vibes and weird ass cool games, play this game. It's so good.
Oh gosh, I still have to compile so many others, but yeah, it's weird to think that like Devil May Cry did not put up a good showing on this.
No DMT4s.
Oh, wow,
Resident Evil 5 was also not on 360.
Yeah,
which I found
Resident Evil 5 did not put up a like it got 119, so it's top 80, I think, roughly.
Yeah, I find it weird that it wasn't on the 360 list at all either, because it's definitely not a 4 hit, but it was. I feel like it was kind of everywhere though at the time.
It was huge.
Yeah. It was like Capcom's best-selling game up until Monster Hunter World.
Yeah. Let's see. Got 115 points on the 360, 116 points on the PS3.
Man, I played the hell out of it. As a co-op game, I feel like it's fantastic.
Yeah. And people love Wesker in that game, so...
that's peak Wesker. Absolutely peak Wesker.
I had somebody ask about LA Noire. Let's see. Around... little less than 100 points. I don't have it fully tallied, but if I add it all up, it's around little less than 100. But not close enough to make the top even 75. So I didn't worry about finished counting it. Did better than on 360 though. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Did anyone else vote for the Pixel Junk shooter games? Either one.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yes. Pixel Junk. Definitely got some votes.
Those games have such a cool, chill vibe, man.
They do.
Actually, let's take a look here. Yeah. The one that did best was Pixel Junk Monsters with 15 points. All the others got 2 or 3 points.
Then it was just me.
Yeah.
Y'all, what?
Did you vote for Eden, Shooter 2, and Shooter? Because those all got...
I just did Shooter 2 myself.
Okay.
Yeah. Those games are great.
Maybe we'll have a chance to show off one when we get to the indies.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, but yeah, there is our PlayStation 3 list. Let's see. I just saw a question from Shell Shock about House of the Dead Overkill. No, nobody worried about PlayStation Move games.
It came out on PS3.
They've got a few, like House of the Dead 4 has only come to console on PS3 with PS Move. So it's locked there entirely. And when the PS3 store was about to shut down, that was like the only way to get it. Thankfully, we dodged a bullet there because we bullied them enough to not shut the store down, but we would have lost that one.
It's still open, so there's still plenty to get. A lot of these games you can still get digitally.
Just keep bullying them all.
Yep, absolutely.
It's always okay to bully a company.
Yes, very much so. Oh goodness, but yeah, I'd say a pretty solid top 10 list. We'd always switch out a few games here and there. I could have manipulated the votes and put Valkyria Chronicles up there. I should have, but I didn't.
We still can. It's
not too late. It's not too late. Yeah. The discussion hasn't ended yet.
Go back and change it. But yeah, of course, our next discussion will be on the top 10 Wii games. So you can look forward to that. However, I should mention critically that my son is out of school and therefore I must watch him, making it much more difficult for John and I to meet up to record these. So he'll have some summer classes in July. I don't know if it'll take that long, but I will still be updating everybody about the polls. They'll still be going. And I think John and I are going to try to get to a point where we're just maybe batch record these.
We'll make it work. We'll make it work when we can.
This one.
Yeah.
And
so it's going to be a little infrequent after this point, but we will try to get back into it. And, he has 4 summer classes in July, and then he'll be back in school in September. Yeah. So
we're going to emphasize in the voting in the poll that Metroid Prime Trilogy is not going to count. Prime 3 will count, but Metroid Prime Trilogy is not solely a Wii game, and therefore you go vote for Prime 3 if you want Metroid in there.
If you vote for Metroid Prime, if there's I see a vote for Prime Trilogy, that'll go to Prime 3.
which might inflate Prime 3 if people don't read read the poll.
Brandon's going to be on the Wii discussion, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one.
If he can still make it.
If he can still make it,
yeah.
It's all scheduled reliant, especially with 3 dads.
Well, if he can't, it turns out he can't make it, I'll be happy to come back for that one as well, because that'll be fun.
Yeah. So we'll see how it all breaks down. But yeah, look forward to that when we get to it. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm so glad that people enjoy watching these, that they've become such good background noise. I wish we could keep it consistent, but that's just how scheduling works sometimes. So it will continue on. We just need time to actually meet up. Plus, Switch 2 is coming out, so it's probably not a bad thing.
We're
that this
busy.
is taking a break.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. But thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to GVG, hitting the like button and ringing that bell. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/GVGaming with plenty of extra perks. So until next time, bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.